Hi, everybody.
Hey,
How's it going?
hope everybody's doing good. We're having a little bit of a heat wave here in Saskatoon. Exciting!
You can see the shine on my face. That's sweat.
TMI. So, hope everybody's having a great day. And I can't see how many people. Oh, I see 5 attendees. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we'll give it some time in case some other people want to join us. But yeah, feel free to put your information in the chat if you guys have any questions, or if you just want to say hola or whatever.
Yes, we love when you chat or ask questions. It makes the hour go by super fast.
Totally. So it'll be great if we could actually have one of these where we didn't have to come up with any content. It was just you guys asking all the questions and doing all the things.
Yeah, that'd be fabulous.
Because then it means we get to talk less. Or come up with new stuff less, I guess.
No kidding. Oh, are we still here?
You're still
zooming.
Live.
People can still see you, but we're Facebook living in the process.
Oh, we got 6 people now.
Woo!
All right. So we figured, again, we're always trying to figure out what times work best. And
there's something for people to comment. Tell us when, is it evening, afternoon, lunch hour? What days are best for you for us to do the epic hour? We'll start taking some polls and figuring out those times and see how it can work out, that maybe we can kind of get closer to that time more often, or, those that speak the loudest get heard. That's how it works in the world.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease. All right. So I don't even know what day it is.
It's Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday.
And I think it's the 23rd. I want to say it's the 23rd. Look at that.
23rd. Yeah. So we're a week away from month end. Tuesday.
That's a busy time.
Yeah. So somebody said comment.
This time works in Toronto. Okay. As does something else.
I don't know.
I don't know. It was cut off. That's okay. Bailey can write it out. Oh.
As does 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So excited about this session. Thank you in advance. Oh, thanks,
nice.
Nicolette.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. So yeah, well, we might just get into it then. And we've always got the recordings. If people can't watch it live, they can catch us later and all that fun stuff. So we really wanted to talk about personal growth and personal development, and
how important it is for everyone and everything.
Yeah. So for us, we've put a lot of time and energy into developing our mindsets and being able to kind of grow into better people, do bigger things. And I know for myself, I really didn't know about this whole world of personal development or personal growth or whatever you want to call it.
I had nothing. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't know there was this alternate universe of high vibes and amazing laws of attraction and all the things. No, had no idea.
Yeah. And it's tough when you don't know what you don't know. I say that all the time, right? So unless you are exposed to something or awakened to a new idea, how do you know that there's a different way to be, right? So for us, we have taken a lot of different things, and we can talk about some of the stuff we've taken, and some of it still exists, some of it doesn't, some of it's morphed, some of it's still the same.
Yeah.
And what works for me might not work for Alisa, or vice versa, or any of you guys. Everybody responds to things differently. We're all wired differently. That's what makes us all so unique and great. And it's just a matter of knowing what you're needing, and what works at one point of your life might not work in the next leg of your life, right? I look at everything, there's always a journey. And I think that the stuff we've taken has always been incremental. And had we not taken the first level of things, might have not been ready or exposed enough or aware enough to really delve into the higher level of stuff we ended up taking later on.
For sure. For me, if I had to pick a commonality that I think would happen for most people, and you'll hear this a lot amongst different people who teach or coach or mentor personal development, but for me, awareness. It's like when you get that piece of knowledge and you become aware, it's like you can't unwire it. That for me, I think is something I notice in a lot of people. Whether you stay true to that awareness or not varies amongst people, but I think there's an awareness that awakens in anyone who does some personal development. Again, whether they acknowledge it or whether they honor it is a totally different story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I've taken lots of different courses where I there were other people in those courses, and we all go through things differently, and then we all take the information and implement it differently. But what's wild is when you don't, like Alisa saying, you don't honor the teachings, like honestly, it's like kind of like the universe shits on you, I think. It's like, you know better. And I always say I think whatever, somebody that said it's like a Maya Angelou quote or something like that, but it's when you know better, you do better. And as human beings, we're never going to know all the things. We're never going to be perfect. But what I think our goal should be as a solid human is to make sure that you're always doing your best. And like Alisa said, the awareness piece is really big. And when you know, it's not like you can just shut your eyes and pretend you don't know, right? The universe knows that you know. And so if you fuck up, then the universe is going to come and collide and smack you, man.
They may place you in a position where you're taught that lesson over and over until you take it.
Yeah.
Right.
So why not just learn the lesson
and be done
and get it over with? Because life is short. There's
absolutely
better things to spend your time on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these topics we have, and then we'll kind of just segue. Again, if you guys have any questions, please ask.
Yeah. So mindset shifts to be successful in business, investing, and life. That's a lot. There's a whole bunch of things there. So we'll talk about, I guess we can talk about some of the courses and stuff we took personally that were beneficial to us. So the first one, you've heard us in our story talk about how Rochelle and we were apprenticing to become electricians, and she talked about how she was away for a personal development growth course. Well, that back in the day, that one was called Higher Laws. And I ended up later in the year taking that course as well. And we actually did take it a few levels. And it was interesting. It's so funny how it's like anything when you start, even real estate investing knowledge, you get in and it's like, oh, this is like the BLN. And then all of a sudden you get a little deeper and you get a little deeper and you're like, holy crap, it just never stops, right? Like it never stops. You could go any direction. You can go all over the world with it, and it's the same with personal development and mindset shifts, those kinds of things. You can just keep going, right? And so that was a big one because for me, it was my first one. I believe for Rochelle, it was also her first one. And it was funny when we took it, we were like, oh my gosh, this was like life altering and all the things. And then it was for the moment, 100%. But then all of a sudden you go and take something else and you're like, oh my gosh, this is even like, wow. Right. And so I think that's what's cool too with that stuff is you can, start it and then just keep going. And there's going to always be a component of it that'll push you to that next best version of yourself that you can be. Yeah. So the other one we took is Hoffman. Yeah. That was another big one for us. It was pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah. Has anybody on here heard of the Hoffman process before? Just type yes if you have in the chat. It's interesting how many people have never heard of it. No. Okay. Yeah. It's neat because it's fully immersive. So you're actually kind of like off the grid for a week. So we were both already full time in the business when we actually decided to go. We had a staff of probably, I think 25.
No, it was a little less than that. It was about 15, 20.
Yeah, when we ended up going. And we didn't really know how to tell our staff what we were doing. And we were supposed to give up our phones and any access to the outside world.
And both of us gone at the same time.
Yeah.
For a week.
Yeah. And we still had millions of dollars of real estate we were running at that point in time. And so we were like, okay, well, we know we need to do this. And we'd seen a lot of other people have a lot of really amazing success come out of it.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. And just complete 180s of people's lives. And I'm like, what? And, the one was actually, we went to an event and it was actually one of the presenters. And he was a very interesting character.
He was an ass.
Yeah, that. And so, we always said, if we go to somebody's event, we don't have to love everything about them to learn from them, right? It doesn't mean you have to mirror who they are or the way of being, but they still have knowledge that you can still garner and take from them. And so when we had went, originally, we always kind of kept him at arm's length. And we've always said, like, we're not interested in investing there, whatever, but we'll see. And he always had amazing speakers and presenters. So we'd gone to a couple of his events and we were like, okay, dude, like settle down, a little bit of a douche. But then all of a sudden we went to this other event and it was like he'd done a complete 180. It was the weirdest thing. And I literally looked at Alisa. I was like, what happened to him?
I know. He
Like,
was
what
like
happened?
touching people and like
Yeah.
hugging people
I
and
was
like
what
saying positive
happened?
things. And we're like, somebody did a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Like literally, like we couldn't
Yeah.
stop whispering to each
Like
other.
I was
We were
just
like,
like,
what happened? Like, yeah.
Couldn't peg it.
And then that was when we were like, we had to investigate.
Well, no, they actually brought a presenter
Yeah.
from the Hoffman process onto stage. And basically this is where it came out that that's the course he had taken a couple months earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Whoa.
Like if they can fix
Do that.
I'm like, we should go.
Yeah.
So that was for us, what kind of just sold us on it. And then from there, we just kind of one thing led to another. And we were like, let's just make it happen. So generally when people go, if you're like, obviously, if you're a married couple, you're supposed to go there to work on yourself. So you're not supposed to go together. Well, obviously, Alyssa and I were business partners. We still have our own lives and everything. So when we went, we actually drove together, but we didn't really talk when we were there because everybody has their own rooms and stuff like that. And you're there to work on yourself. Yeah. So it was interesting because we went through this whole week and it was intense. They bring you through the highs and lows and like all the exercises. It's wild, right?
Rip you apart and then give you all the tools and build you up.
Yeah, it was wild. After day one, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to handle a week of this? This is insane.
I tried to I was like borderline leaving. I was like, thank God she drove because I was like done.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Hardest thing.
It was wild. And then a week goes by and it flew by. And then after the week, I was like, where did the week go? Yeah. Like, how did that go by so fast? So it was just, it was really interesting, but it's a very, very well thought out, planned event and just workshops and everything like that. It was amazing stuff. So when we came back, we, both adjusted to things differently. And it was wild because when we were actually winding up and we were packing up and stuff like that, people were like, why are you guys on the same vehicle? We're like, well, we're business partners. Yeah. And they were like, you what? Like they actually didn't even know that we were friends and that we came together because we made it about ourselves.
Well, and we agreed that we were going to go all in doing this. And that meant focusing on ourselves, not each other. Right.
Yeah. So it was super, super interesting. But yeah, and then that was how many years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, I would say at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, we have Hoffmates that have taken the course and we, because you've gone through it, you can relate. Everybody experiences things differently, but you understand the exercises and you understand what you've gone through. So, we'll have friends who reach out to us and they might be in a place where we'll recommend it to them, just saying, you know what, where you're at, I feel like this would be perfect for you. Yeah. And whether they do or don't is completely up to them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, super intensive, but absolutely amazing work. So that was one of the biggest shifts that I know for me, it helped really shift who I am as a being and being aware of myself. And I always describe it as when I left there, I feel like I was given a blueprint to how Rochelle is wired, to how I work, to what makes me tick. And before this, I always thought that, oh yeah, well, I know who I am. I know blah, blah, blah. Right. But what I didn't understand was all of the hurt and things from, different parts of my life that I carried with me. And so I was actually able to work through a lot of that stuff and come out and not be quite so angry. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it was just, we're all different people. We all run differently and we're all wired differently because of our life experiences, but it really picks out and pegs certain things that happen in your life that might make you wired the way you are or whatever. But yeah, so for me, it was actually pretty incredible.
Well, and for me, what I gained from it was how to let go, like just how not to carry the guilt, how not to carry everyone, how not to carry everything. And for me, that was monumental because that's me. I'm a nurturer. I'm, how do you care about everyone else and yourself? Well, there is a way to do that and to honor yourself while you're caring about others. And that for me, I was wired like Rochelle. I didn't know how I was wired. I didn't understand why I did some of the things I did in my life. And then I went, oh, now I know why. Now I can see it happening before it happens. Right? So it's like that awareness I talked about earlier. I'm now aware if I break into a pattern where it's like, damn, no, I know where this pattern's going to take me. Forget it. Rein it in, rein it back, start again. Right. And so that was a big one. And this didn't just benefit us personally. It rippled into the company. It rippled into business decisions. It rippled into so many things. So Carmen, I am curious to know who were some of your greatest mentors. And then she had asked, or Carmen. Carmen had asked, I would love to know more about Hoffman. And so we just kind of dove into that. But yeah, it's amazing. It used to only be offered just north of Calgary, but now they offer it in Toronto and in Alberta.
Yeah. So Nicolette said, do you know if all the coaches, there are many locations, which they're not, are they all equally good, effective in reference to Hoffman? So yeah. with that, then it is interesting because there are only 2 locations. So it's not something that you can just be like, oh, I'll go to the corner store and take the Hoffman process. Yeah, in Canada, pardon me. So yeah, in the States, they have more locations and whatnot. But so they all are very well trained because they have to go through very intensive training before they can actually offer it. And I don't know the exact training, but everybody the coaches that we had taken it with, they've been coaches for like 10, 15 years. So yeah. So
Carmen was the one was on. She just gave me a note. That's the one the wholesaler from Saskatchewan I spoke with today.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So
we have lots of Carmens who follow us. So I'm like, I don't know the last name and stuff. So awesome. Yeah. So so greatest mentors.
Yeah. So I think we could easily start with our first one, which was Shelley Hagan.
Yeah.
Man, do we owe that woman a lot. Mm-hmm. She took 2 redonkulously crazy, hyper, all this energy, all this knowledge just circling everywhere. They were just like, let's go. And she's like, okay, girls, see this? We gotta focus, right? And I give her kudos and credit for being able to take both of us on and actually straighten us out. That in itself, those were 3 of the most important days for me anyways along this journey, was spending them with Shelley Hagan. She's out of Calgary, Alberta. We still dial the phone. There's been times where like, who might, Shelley, we're going to phone Shelley, right?
It's like that phone a friend. We're like, we will take the phone Shelley button. Yeah. So that's definitely a big thing. And it's really cool too, because, she's morphed into a friend as well. So, we've been able to go up and visit. We think we were attending a conference or something and we actually stayed with Shelley. So it was cool because we got to hang out and whatnot, but she does travel a lot. We travel a lot. It seems to be every time I would pass, so like she'd be flying out of Toronto, I'd be flying in Toronto, or she'd be in Alberta, and we'd be back home, or vice versa. Like we were just kind of like all over the place. So
we still owe her. We got to do a ladies' weekend. We definitely. We talked about that.
So that was our rich dad mentor who turned into a friend, and you know what? There's mentors kind of everywhere. I can't think of any specific where we're like that's our mentor, but it's more so. For myself, anyway, we coach with Jennifer Blake, and actually she used to be a Hoffman coach, and then she eventually bought the the corporation or whoever owned the entity for Hoffman, and then she ended up selling it and going back into private practicing for coaching. And so we were fortunate enough to be able to coach with her. So we've been with her for I think 1.5 to 2 years now. And for us, like for me personally, that's made the biggest impact and the biggest difference as far as like working with anybody. And I know that's not a mentor, that's like a hired coach, but for me, I throw a lot of stuff at her, and for me that's one of my biggest people and influences in my life right now.
Absolutely. Another one along the way I think that I would like to acknowledge, again, it was a paid coach, but again, a mentor, I've dialed him up a couple of times, is Ross Lytle.
Yes.
Again, we went out there for a weekend, and again, he blew our minds on business structuring and lots of other things. And he's, again, been somebody that we totally can pick up the phone and be like, hey, Ross, And so again, I would check out him and his stuff. If you're looking for somebody that'll really challenge you and push buttons on your business systems and your business, he's phenomenal. I would recommend him.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to, we could talk a little about our fantasy mentors. So people that we haven't actually met yet, but that we just love to listen to or follow. So for me, a couple of those would be, I love listening to like Ed Milet, Brendon Burchard, and Rachel Hollis.
For myself, I'm a huge Gary Vaynerchuk fan. Like, honestly, for me, that's kind of like whenever I'm like, oh, who do I want to listen to? I'll put some Gary V on, and I just like how matter of fact he is. I like that he speaks his mind. I like that he just says it like it is, and he has integrity, and his values and his moral compass is right on point. You know, I look at Grant Cardone, like I like a lot of the stuff he is talking about, and I like his 10X message. I just think there's some flaws in the character there. And
some of his tactics aren't stuff we would align with.
Yeah. And I think there's some integrity that's lacking. So for me, I'm always like very cautious about who I align with or who I take information from. So anything I take from him, I take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know exactly where his moral compass is as a human.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I mean, we've been to some amazing events where we were blessed to listen to inspirational person after. Honestly, again, one of our favorites, probably, I'm speaking for me, but probably as well, Rochelle say that, is Thrive.
Yeah.
Going to that event was like, holy, it was like, we go to, we had, obviously right now things are different, but we had gone to a lot of different events for education, and we usually would go, and it was kind of like, you know, you get some nuggets. It was kind of a thing, kind of got us creative again in our mindset, and you know, those kinds of things. But basically what it came down to was we went to Thrive, and it was just like, like just we were just engulfed. There was very few speakers that we couldn't relate to or that didn't inspire us. It was just amazing to see, you know, name after name after name, you know, just so many amazing business owners and so many entrepreneurs that were up there. And you know what was cool? It was all their stories, their struggles, and no pitching.
Yeah.
It was so refreshing.
Yeah, totally.
And so amazing.
Yeah. And it was really neat, because that's what we were told, is that there's going to be no pitching. It's just value add. But we've heard that before. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, but you know, just right now, last 5 minutes, right? And it was insane. And it was so cool because it was all entrepreneurial based. And what was neat is that a lot of the people who were there because they wanted to give back. Mm-hmm. Like some of them weren't even getting paid. They weren't even actual keynotes. They were just like, hey, you know, this Cole Hatter and Sonia Hatter, pardon me, they are doing really cool things. We just want to be part of it. Mm-hmm. Right. So again, it's that whole, like, your vibe attracts your tribe and that whole side of things. So it was really cool to see the compound effect from that event alone. Another one that really was an amazing mindset shift for me was the weekend of, was in Edmonton. It was quite a few years ago, but it was Kim Kiyosaki's event, women's event. That was a long time ago. I know it was a long time ago, but man, it was such an amazing weekend. I got to meet Kim Kiyosaki and also some of the people around her. And, you know, it was just cool. We actually got invited for some drinks with some people, with her circle. And, you know, that was pretty cool, you know, to hang out with those kinds of people, right? Really enjoyed that one as well. But the mindset shifts, the actual doing, the actual action part, that is going to be hard to pinpoint for everyone. Here's your magic pill. It doesn't really work like that. If you've been listening to Rochelle and I talk, we're at the same events, but both of us are taking different things away. That's because we're two similar people with a great foundation, but we're two very unique people, meaning we're our own people, right? So mindset shifts are going to be on you, because what it comes down to is you have to learn, where are you weak? Where are you strong? Because the only way you can shift your mindset is figure out where you need to grow and work on. And that's what's going to help you shift, right? So that's going to be a variety of different people that'll help you with that. Like if you've been listening to Rochelle and I, it's not one person that we've just gone like this and went, oh my gosh, you're the be all end all. But it still comes down to, even though we listen to different people, it's all about implementation, right? If you're just going to go listen to 50 million people and not take one step or implement one of their lessons or their changes or their advice, you can keep listening and listening. It's not going to do much for you. It'll change some of your verbiage. It'll get you into a more positive set. But thank you. But what the big thing is, it's on you. If something hits you, you'll know. You're sitting there and you go, whoa, that right there. Take your notes and then implement it.
That is how you make your mindset shift or change for anything. And it's a growth. It's why, like, you're hearing us talk about all these events we've gone to. It's because there is no, hey, you know what? Here I'm a preschooler. Here I'm in kindergarten. Here I'm now in grade 8. Oh, now I'm a university graduate. I'm good. I'm done. Right? No, that's not a thing when it comes to education and development. Me personally, I will be developing and I will be educating and I will be learning until the day I die. That is my personal journey that I want for growth and development in real estate, in business, in entrepreneurialism, all the things. Yeah. So
somebody had asked a question about Ross's last name. So it's Ross Lytle.
Yes. And Bailey typed it in the chat box.
So he's based out of BC. So we actually went out there. And then he actually, on my hit list, he does a retreat in Mexico.
Oh yes,
so
I would like to. Yeah, we'll see where things are at this winter.
see where it's at. Yeah. Hopefully everything will kind of go back to a new version of normal. And we can still make that happen.
Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, and then so next topic is accountability. So how we keep each other accountable and how we keep the team members accountable. So for myself, I'm just really always try to be very aware of my language and my mindset and just making sure I'm kind of on the same page. And I mean, some days are just draining and long, and it's tough to keep at the top of your game and like with it and like super motivated and super positive. And, you know,
we're very good to call each other's language out. Are you listening to yourself talk? Do you hear the language? And it's like, damn it. Right. Well, that is probably, I think, our biggest accountability is we're very quick to do that with each other. That is definitely beneficial. And we'll point out to each other like, hey, what's going on over here? Or, you know, this is like, or what do you need help with here? Or, you know, what can I do to, you know, and you know what, we do another thing, and I think we just do it naturally, but we do like check-ins. You know, it'll just be the two of us, and it'll be like half an hour, or it'll be 15 minutes, or sometimes it could be an hour and a half long walk. And we're just shooting the shit. Right. And then just checking each other's okay. And, you know, hey, what's, you know, where are you struggling? What are the things, you know, it just naturally happens in conversation with Rochelle and I. And I think that's one of the biggest ways we keep each other accountable is, I think honestly, the accountability shows up in what we're doing. If you look at the business, the accountability is there. The business is growing to what it is because the proof, as Rochelle says, it's one of her favorite sayings, the proof is in the pudding, right? So the proof is in the pudding. The business is doing A, B, and C. If I'm sliding in my area, there's things that show up. Oh, look at, you missed this. This didn't happen over here, right? Damn, oh shit, right? And Rochelle will come at me and go, this didn't happen. And I'm like, fuck, yep, I bet it. I'm not again. Right. You know, so, I mean, those are the things that I think that are very powerful for the two of us. We do acknowledge having the two of us. We're very, very, very super blessed because we know so many people that have gotten into business and it's crashed and burned. And
I think that's like probably the number one comment I get from people when they'll ask about, oh, you have a business partner. How does that work? Right. And so for us, we communicate very openly. And the other thing is too, that we very much stick to staying in our lane, right? So I have what my roles and responsibilities are for the company. Alisa has what her roles and responsibilities are for the company. And we don't overlap that. And it's interesting too, because this was something we kind of had to grow into. We both had our own skill sets, and then we both had our own likes and dislikes, but we also used to do all the things.
We did literally together. Like we were together. People actually thought we were a couple because we had a little kid with us all the time, my son, and then we'd be everywhere together.
So people are like, what's happening right now? And then they see our business card and there's like this character of two heads together, right? So I'm like, whatever. And so we used to joke about it because we'd be like, well, it get us a better deal on that house.
Right.
You know,
we can hug.
Right? So we've always just joked about it. But, and it's funny because we have actually like years later had like contractors and stuff. They're like, you know, I always thought maybe, and I'm like, what?
Why didn't you just ask?
It's so funny.
Whatever.
So I'm like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, I have nothing against it.
No. It was just funny how people are so judgmental and they just assume.
Assuming.
I
always tell people, I'm like, don't assume shit. Just talk
just
about
ask.
it. Yeah.
Right? There's a nice way to ask.
Yeah.
Like, hey, are you two like just a business couple or are you like living together?
Yeah.
Right? Like
people are super funny. So I'm like, whatever, it's all good. But we went from doing all the things together to then kind of conquering and dividing and figuring out what works best. And again, we've talked about this before. I don't like managing people. I don't really like a lot of people. I'm, very much like I enjoy people one-on-one, but I don't like groups of people. Whereas Alyssa's kind of the opposite. She loves being on stage. She loves public speaking. She loves commanding a room. And I'm like, can I do it? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of goes with the territory. Do I like it? Nope, not at all. Right. But it's part of the process. It needs to happen.
And most one-on-one, I get bored quickly because I'm like, I can't even focus on this conversation. It's funny if you watch it. I'll be like, I literally will get into something with somebody for like 10-15 minutes and go, and now you're going to talk to somebody else, or you need to set up a call with Rochelle because she can take you from here, right? Like I literally, it's like, and I've given you what I can. Here's my cutoff.
So it's
actually, Carmen, we talked today, and what happened? We got in. I gave you some ideas, and then I went, and now you're in Bailey territory, so I'm going to introduce you to Bailey.
We have people for that.
That's right.
So it's interesting because again, it's kind of been an evolution to get to that point, but now it's more so I deal with more of the investor side of things. And then Alisa kind of does all the other stuff. And then even when it comes to the houses, I do the design for our Airbnbs, but for the rental properties, everything's wash, rinse, repeat. I picked the brown color. I picked the gray color. We look at the flooring. I give it my approval and I'm like, do this in all the houses. I'm done. Right. I picked like right now we're just in the process of shopping around. We found this amazing new cabinet kitchen guy.
Oh
yeah,
Deep is awesome.
Yeah,
next time we'll have to remember. Actually, there's a topic we could do: contractors and how we work with them.
Yeah, even how we vet them, how we find them. That is, you guys writing that down? Yeah. And so from there, then all of a sudden so with the contract and stuff like that, we're always shopping around and figuring out whatever, but with the colors. So I'm like, okay, I got to go to the houses to pick the countertops and the colors. And then it's like, once we've set it for the rental properties, it's set it and forget it. We just do the same model over and over and over. But for the Airbnbs or anything that we're renovating to flip to the public, then that's where I get to go in and do my design. Well, the odd time, Alisa might have to step in and do something at the Airbnbs or do something for the design, and all of a sudden Alisa's like, no, please no. And so when it comes to the houses,
if you want to see me like need to have a personal growth development, set me in a room and go, Alisa, pick colors. Alisa, find the pretty things.
So for me, I love the design, and then Alisa's really amazing with the structural stuff. What's behind the wall, making sure that it's done properly, making sure that everything's up to
even
code.
A floor plan layout, like I'm all about that, or a functionality of a kitchen or stuff like that. But the minute it's like, how do we feng shui the shui of the area? And I'm like, I don't know. Even at home, I can't even lie. My fiance, all our furniture, he picked it. Our stuff, he picked it, not me. If he picks the colors, I'm like, babe, it's good. It's, you know what? It's a decision I don't have to make. I'm good. I'll live with it. I don't care. Do I have a comfy bed? We're happy then. I'm good.
So balance it out, right?
Yep.
So for us, it's just always worked well. So Nicolette says, from where you are now, what would you tell your starting out selves to do to make the journey smoother or easier? Or would you do everything the same? That's a good question.
That's a very good question. Honestly, I think if I could go back to when we were starting, for me, I would definitely there's one thing I would tell myself, and that's forgive yourself faster so you can be open to carrying on and moving on faster. No one could be harder. Like, again, back to Hoffman, no one could have been harder on me than I was. The guilt, the shame, all those things. Oh, I screwed this up. Oh, like those kinds of things just festered in me. And if I could have told myself, just forgive yourself or forgive others and move on, for me, it would have just amplified how quick things moved. For me.
Yeah. For myself, it would have been delegating out roles faster. Because for me, I'm a control freak. just one of my wirings. When I was younger, again, just life events and stuff like that, I had a lot of control in my life because of things that were out of control. So I would rein stuff in and I'm like, no, this is the way it is. I control this. This is it. And I can do it better than everybody else, and blah, 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 perfectionism, la, la, la. And so for me, I was like, well, nobody can do it like I can.
Nobody can, but.
And nobody can. But at the same time, they don't always have to. And sometimes people can actually do things better in their own way. And so that's something that took me time to learn. And I think we were even talking about this on, I don't remember if it was last week or something, but
yeah,
I
it was
said,
very recent.
Yeah, I don't, it might've been even just a meeting, but I said, you know, Alisa's totally beat this into me verbally, I guess. And it's better done than perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can hear the scorn in her voice right now. Like she's
yeah.
like, I don't even want to say this.
Yeah, but it's just that I have actually accepted that now, where it's like, you know what, just get her done, get it out the door. Because at the end of the day, there's certain things we have to make sure that they are done well. We have to make sure our investment numbers are done well. We have to make sure that the projects are done well. We have to make sure that the properties are like running smoothly and whatnot. But at the same time, there's multiple different ways to skin a cat, if you will.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've just relied more heavily on our systems and our team members.
And I mean, the minute that we allowed like delegation to happen like it did, and the hiring of team members
and like leaders, team leaders,
it just amplified everything.
Yeah.
Tenfold.
Yeah. And
10x right there.
I'm trying to think of like the positions that we ourselves hire out versus the people that our team members hire.
Yeah.
Like we don't really hire. We don't really interview.
It honestly, it's coming down to well, really, Rochelle is like the only time she actually came in for an interview was for her assistant.
But I only did the second round of interviews
yeah.
because I don't like interviewing. So I was like, Alisa, can you just please interview? And if you find a good candidate, I'll come in and do the second round. And again, it's just figuring out what works best, right?
Yeah. And I mean, now I'm already to the point where each team leader we have in place, they typically are doing the first round. They may ask me to come in on the second or third round, and I'm sure, no problem. And the only time I'm being brought in is if it's literally a new arm or leg or a new division. And then I'm the boots on the ground helping build that to find those leaders. And then after that, it's like, yay, I made this and it's here, and now I can go do it again.
Yeah. So again, power of systems.
Yeah. So goal setting. So this is a big one. Rochelle and I, it's so funny because, you know, it's not, I don't think we verbalize to each other all the time, our goals, all our time, or our goals to each other all the time. But yet it's so funny how we still know what is important in goals for each other and for the business and personally and all those things. I find my way of goal setting is in the mornings, I write out, and I work a lot with Brendan Bouchard's journal. And then I have the Grateful planner from Rachel Hollis. So I'm big on, I fill those out in the morning and the one at night. And for me, I need help staying focused because I am involved in so many areas in the field for the business. There's so many moving parts, and I'm just like, sometimes it's like it can become this overwhelming elephant because there are so many people coming at me at all times for all the things that sometimes it's just like my certain goals can get kind of pushed to the back, and I may forget, or they may, drown, if you want to say. But by writing them out, like one of my goals is to become a public speaker and to be an author, right? Like to do writing and speaking, right? And so I write that out, and then it's like, okay, I can self-analyze and look back at my writings and go, okay, did I do anything towards that? Was there anything I created? Did I write anything? Did I partake in anything that allowed any of that to happen? So these are, to me, are on my goal plan. Doing these webinars are a prime example. Getting to talk to people, getting out there, educating, just trying to leave that epic stamp, so that, people realize there's more out there than maybe what's just right in front of them. And I think if we can, Rochelle and I talk about that all the time, that if there's moments where, you know, if there's this little piece or this seed we can leave that allows somebody to grow, man, we're always so jubilated over that. Like, just awesomely impressed and love that, because to us, you know, it's great that we're making money for people, and it's great that, you know, our company is making money. Those things are amazing, but that moment where you watch someone pivot and turn, and it's going to lead to something that may change their life. Now that right there is that win and that payday. Like, it just, for both of us, it doesn't matter, right? And so, you know, that's the kind of thing for goals. So for me, that's what I've done to try and keep myself on track and work towards them and make those changes.
Yeah, I'm really big into lists. I make a lot of to-do lists, and the girls in the office kind of make fun of me because I use scrap paper all the time, and I'm always writing lists. And it's just because my brain is going a million miles a minute. And so I'm like, give me paper. I just need to get this out of my head. And it's the same thing with the note section in my phone. I am just like, okay, I got this and this and this. And then I put my tasks together, and whether that be on a daily basis or a per project basis or whatnot, but I don't really like technology. I don't like computers. So for myself, I'm really big into paper-based. And I know that's not the best, but for me, that's just the way I am. And I'm not a big writer. So it's kind of funny because at the end of the day, with the writing, I don't journal ever. And so some people will follow me, like some people might be friends with me on Facebook and whatnot. And so I just might do a post. And it's the weirdest thing because I'll like stop in the middle of what I'm doing and I'll just get this like inspiration for a post, and then I'll post it and I'm like, I don't know where that came from. And then all of a sudden somebody will message me later in the day and be like, oh, thank you so much for that post. It was like it was speaking to me. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. Maybe that was the inspiration. Maybe you're why I posted it. Right. And it's really neat because, again, Alisa, talked about that ripple effect. And it just, when you don't know how, by you being you and you living your life, you don't know how that might be impacting others. And that I think there's a lot of value in that. And at the end of the day, this is why I always say, if you don't like what I'm saying or we don't resonate, then let's not hang out, right? Like, I don't need you to love me. That's okay. I don't need you to like me. That's okay. And I have a lot of value in myself, and I like the person I am, and I like who I am, and I resonate with the right people, and it's going to rub other people the wrong way. It don't matter. And for myself, when it comes to goal setting, my bigger visions always be a better human than I was yesterday, and then always be continually evolving. So for myself, I always have a big vision board. So I literally have it right beside my bed, and it's big. It's got like all these different things on it. And it's basically kind of like a 5-year snapshot of the bigger goals I have going on. And so because it's right beside my bed, I'll spend time just kind of like looking at it. And kind of like Alisa said, am I working towards this stuff? Where am I at? Where am I lacking? And it's wild because I usually do, and I know some people do a vision board yearly, but I actually do really big goals. So mine usually last about 5 years. But I just updated it, I think 2 years ago. And I actually updated it because I look back at my past vision board and I was like, holy crap, I did like 75% of the stuff on there. Some of it's still a longer journey. But that's, for me, I'm a very visual person, so I like having it right in front of me. So again, vision boards, and I do leave a lot of pictures and the kind of like notes and memos kind of just sporadically everywhere because it reminds me of what I'm working so hard for. So I find that very motivating too. And lots of affirmations and mantras and stuff too, like just for positivity and all that. I find that keeps me going and keeps me in a better headspace when, not every day is going as flawless as it could or should. But yeah.
So this is a good one. Finding your people. And not everyone is the right partner, friend, or investor for you. And that's okay. Yeah. That was a big one for us, especially like on the investor side that, I remember the first time we were like, these investors don't align with us. And it's great that we gave them everything they were promised. Mm-hmm. And now, you know what? We didn't reinvest with them, because you have to understand.
They didn't reinvest.
Well, it goes both ways because we didn't invest our time and energy into them and our products, and they didn't have the ability to bring their money back to us. And so the first time,
so we fired investors.
Okay, very, very true. And basically, it was very freeing, to be honest with you. The first time we did it, because it was like, when you first start out, not gonna lie, we had like our very first investor, you know, was somebody that we borderline were like, are we gonna do this? Okay, we're gonna do it because it's the only person that will give us this opportunity. But did we ever do anything else with them? No, it just didn't align, and we knew that. And you know, now we're at a place where like Rochelle will be on the phone with an investor and 5 minutes, and she goes, you hear her say it to our team, it's not our people, it's not our people. And it just comes from life lessons and growth and maturity in your company and yourself, right? Yeah. The minute you know who, you know, where's your integrity line, what's your foundation, what's your morals, what's your values, and that's ingrained in your company, it's pretty easy to go, you forget it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And it's really interesting too, when all of a sudden you have somebody come to you, and it might've been a referral, or it might've been somebody who found out about us through wherever they saw our ad. And they think that when they're booking in a discovery session phone call, that they're vetting us, which they are, but we're vetting the potential investor just as hard. And it's pretty interesting when all of a sudden there's very specific questioning that I use. And when I say, you know, this is the opportunity, and, you know, for the fund to flip, for example, we pay a 10% annual rate of return. And so sometimes people will be like, oh, well, I can go and invest here and make 15%. I'm like, no worries. Go invest there. Have a great life. Thanks for your time. Bye. Well, all of a sudden they're like, wait, what? What? Yeah. Wait, what?
I can't have it?
Huh?
What?
Like, no. Like, but I want to hear, like, sell me. And I'm like, well, you just told me you can go make better money elsewhere.
Then
be free.
Yeah. Like, we're not here to hold you up or put you backwards. We're here to give you the service and offer our products.
Yeah. So I'm not going to try and sell somebody on our product saying that it's better than somebody else's product. If you're just about the money, then go make better money elsewhere. But what you might not be realizing is you might be going and making 15% potentially on your money, providing that they're able to flip the property properly, they're able to sell it for as much or more than they thought they were going to, that they're actually going to sell it in a timely manner, and that they're actually going to be able to do all the things. If they do like 4 or 5 flips a year versus the hundreds that we do, I mean, by all means, go risk your money. Not my problem, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not going to try and sell somebody on it. I'm like, if it's not in alignment, if you don't understand the certainty that our clients get in working with us, then no big deal.
Yeah.
It's not in alignment. It's okay. So it's interesting. Or you'll get the other people, well, you know, I'm worth more because I'm, you know, I have more money, or I'm this or I'm that. I'm like, you sound really egotistical, actually, kind of like an asshole. Yeah, we don't let people like that invest here.
Yeah.
So have a great life, but I'm out. Peace. And again, so when somebody comes at you with big ego and entitlement, they don't like that either.
No.
So it's interesting, but that's where, again, we're looking for people who are so busy leading their best lives that they don't have time to do all the things. We have the teams and the resources to do all the things. We can find deals, we can make it very easy, and people find value in that. And those are our people.
100%. And then as far as our team goes, it's amazing the culture that's been set, the mindset, the work ethic, all the things are there. And it's funny, someone that comes in that doesn't fit, honestly, we've had people last one day. They come and they're like, yeah, this isn't for me, or this isn't. It's very rare that people don't really align to the things that we've built, that they don't work themselves out of our team. It's funny. We typically are pretty good at it not being someone that we even bring on, but you know, people are people, and you know, sometimes you give them the benefit of the doubt, or you know, they did an amazing interview and then they get there and you're like, oh, this ain't working, right?
This isn't what you said you were.
Yeah. So, but it's funny because, you know, the integrity and the things and our team leaders and the things we have in place, it really people they cut themselves out. It's amazing, actually. And, you know, and as far as like friends and that kind of thing, it's the same thing. If you're not finding that both of you in a friendship have that mutual value for the time and the energy and everything that is part of that, then why? just because you've known them for 10 years or just because, you know,
so-and-so is friends with them, or all of a sudden you're,
Why?
you know, what your significant other is friends or whatever. Yeah.
There's like what, 7 point whatever billion people on the planet. And if this one isn't working as a friend, pretty sure that 7 point whatever other billion, one of them might work for you.
Yeah. It's interesting because I know for myself, I have some friends I've had forever, and that's cool. But then I've got other people, and even people I've known for a long time, sometimes it comes out. And I always say there's certain people that are in your lives. It's either a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And it's, you know, some people are just there to teach you something, or you're there to teach them something. Or sometimes it might just be for a certain chapter of your journey. And then sometimes people are there for the whole thing. And it's okay either way, right? There's a purpose, there's a reason that we have each other in our lives for whatever chapter that might be, or whatever the point is. But when you identify who your people are, and you always like it, in my opinion, I'm always looking like, how can I provide value to those in my world? And then am I also receiving value? And when I'm saying value, I'm not saying like you have to give me something in order for me to give you something. I'm looking at it like I'm looking for energy, people that are going to uplift my energy as opposed to drain my energy. So for myself, whenever I hang out with somebody, I always evaluate afterwards. Do I feel drained, or do I feel, you know, just the same, or do I feel a little bit better than I did when I first saw them or first met up with them? Because for people where I am feeling for people that I meet up with them or hang out with them and I leave and I feel drained or depleted, I can't hang out with them anymore. I just can't. And for me, it's just, I only have so much energy in a day, or I only have so much time in my world, and I can't. And so this is how I honor myself, is I don't make it dramatic. It's just that the next time they reach out to hang out or whatever, I'm just going to say like, hey, you know what, this probably isn't the best fit or a best use for my time. So, I mean, if there's something that I can help you with, let me know. Past that, we're done here. So thanks. And no thanks.
Yeah.
So,
so far I'm keeping up to her. I haven't been cut off yet.
No, and it's interesting. Again, kind of going back to that partner, the business partner thing. I never in my life thought I would have a business partner at all. Because
no, she tried to get rid of me.
No, just because for myself, I'm very, very my way or the highway. And it's never like, I never really thought that it would make sense for me to just go into partnership with somebody. And I never thought that'd be a thing. But what's so interesting is I've had so many people comment to us, or to me, I guess, when we talk to people, that you're so lucky that you have a business partner. And I am. No, and I will say that I am very blessed to have Alisa, and that we do work really well together. But at the same time, I think it's just because, again, we've talked about this before, we're just so grounded in the same goals and the same mindset and the principles, right?
And the same support, right?
Yeah.
Like I say all the time, I want a jet, and Rochelle goes, meh, right? But I say, Rochelle, like Alisa wants a jet. Yes. Like I don't want a jet, but Alisa wants a jet. Right? Yeah. But I mean, vice versa. Rochelle wants to retire at 40 and travel the world. And I'm like, meh. Right? But do it. Rochelle's retiring at 40 and traveling the world, right? Like it and that's, I think, what it is. It's that support, that it's like, okay, what are we going to do together to get each other where we want to go? Right? Thank you. And so I mean, that's, we know we're both very grateful that we have found each other, and it is one of those things. And we've had those big talks. You know, it's funny, there's one story about relationships, and I won't name any names in this story, but we bought life insurance through a couple of women, and they had a business partnership, and you know, we kind of admired them for it. And then one day it wasn't a thing. And then they didn't tell us. And then Rochelle got a call from one of them, and I got a call from the other one. And it was like, you know, like for the renewals, life insurance policy. And I was like, oh, what?
We're like, we bought these together.
We're a package. We don't split, right? And
we're like awkward.
Right? And so it was, you know what though? You know what came out of it was Rochelle and I had an amazing conversation about, you know what? If we were, for some unforeseen reason, going to go and do that, go a separate way, we both said we would never treat our clients like that. We would never put them in that awkward
where you'd
position.
Have to choose.
Like
never. It was super.
Yeah, we were like, no, we're on the same page on that one.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
so we literally were like, we'll go meet together with both of them, see who we like better, and move both of our policies there.
And that's what we did.
That's what we did, right? Yeah. And it was just so interesting. But yeah, so for us, and I never even saw this one coming. Again, I didn't know them separate, so I didn't really know their journey, whatever. But yeah, for us, we were like, no, that's not okay.
No.
And for us, it's always been about the business. And again, our characters are the faces of the business. It's not like we would just be like, okay, you take half.
Yeah.
Like, no, we've always
here's
said,
my character, here's yours.
We might not do every business together going forward, but what we've built and what is Epic Alliance will always be its own entity.
I'll tell you, even if we weren't doing them together, guaranteed we're picking up the phone going, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?
Totally. Yeah, for sure. So we'll get winding up here.
We got to do our tour.
Yeah.
Carmen, thank you so much for all you have spoken about. So helpful. I remember you saying you work with an energy coach. What is that like?
So
that's a heavy question, but a good one.
Yeah. Again, like when you're going to be hiring a coach, it's always really important to make sure you're hiring a coach that's going to be able to provide the value that you're looking for. So for us, when we were looking for a coach, because we knew we needed one, we'd been looking for about 6 months because we had stopped coaching with the people we were coaching with before because we kind of outgrew them, which is okay. Like everybody's, and when you're always evolving, you should. Some people can only get you to a certain level. That's fine. But for us, we were like, God, and I was really stagnating just in all sorts of areas. I'm like,
you feel like a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
Like,
not going anywhere.
You're just like, I'm doing.
It's like self-sabotage, whatever your triggers are, those things start coming up and you're like, I don't know how to deal with these. So for us, it was just perfect timing when, again, I had mentioned Jennifer Bike went on her own back to consulting, and I ended up calling her, and she's like, I'm actually going back to this. You were on my list to reach out to. And I actually talked to Alisa and I said, hey, I feel like we should coach with her. I want to coach with her, whether you do too or whatever. I said, why don't you get on a phone call and see if you feel the same thing? And I remember it was weird because Alisa had a call with her and was like, man. And I was like, what? Like, I just was so like pulled to her. And so anyway, I was like, whatever. So then we booked, I think, another follow-up call with both of us.
And it was different.
It was way different. Yeah. So for us, we ended up coaching with her and, going month by month to start, but it's just been amazing. And it's interesting because, again, some people are like, oh, it's a little woo-woo, and that's okay. We're a little woo-woo. Again,
woo-woo's working for us. Have you seen our company?
Exactly. And so for us, it was just, she really helped us with the power of focus and just keeping us really channeled. And what was interesting is Alisa and I are very different people, right? And so she works with us individually, and then she works with us, on the business. And so what's cool is we both get our personal needs kind of figured out in our game plans together. And then she helps us channel up both that max energy back into the business. Yeah. And I think that
and it allows us to still stay individual.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the best part, because I think sometimes that's why other businesses, maybe those relationships kind of fell to the side because they stopped being powerful as individuals coming together.
Yeah.
They just kind of became a mushy one.
Yeah. And they didn't know their roles maybe, or I don't know. But for us, it works really well. And the reason we call her an energy coach is because she gets these visions or downloads, and it's not even always a vision. Sometimes it'll be a word or a message or
how does this relate to you guys this week? Or,
like it's really interesting. Or she'll be like, hey, this is what I got going into this. Does this resonate or whatever? And so for us, it's just very intuitive coaching, I guess is the other word. And so for us, it just really aligns with where we're at and what we're doing. And so that is, for me, what draws me to her is because it's just really and
if you want to learn more about this kind of language, it's all over. Like John Maxwell talks about the laws of attraction and all of these things. Your body is made of energy. Your heart, it runs off electricity. There's so many things that correlate.
Yeah.
And it's until you get someone kind of working with you on it, and it may be for some people to help them elevate, and others may never do it, or it might not be what their journey needs to elevate. And it was what we needed to elevate.
Yep. And it's still very much in there.
Yeah.
So a couple house cleaning tips here.
Yes.
HFLP information session. We're running another one actually this weekend.
Ooh,
so
great.
This Saturday, June 27th at 2 p.m. SAS time. So it's 1 p.m. PST or 4 p.m. EST. So if you're able to join us live, it'll also be recorded. We're just going to shoot a new one because we had so many people asking us for more content. So we'll do it live. You guys can ask your questions, invite people, or get the recording afterwards. So that'll be fun.
Hassle-free landlord program, baby.
And the link is in the comments, and
Excellent.
we'll also have it on social media too. And then we're just going to do a quick tour. So this is a basement suite of one of our second, I think it was our second Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a cute little house on the east side. It's a little one-bedroom house. It's one-bedroom suite, but I think it's $50 a night. So it's pretty much booked up. We just had a one-day gap, so we were able to sneak in here to do this. But yeah, this is my Metro Modern vibe. So it was actually the walls, well, you can see the purple. The walls were already, it was already painted like this when we got in here. So I just played off of the theme for my design, but we didn't do any renovating in here. It was already renovated.
So you can see Bailey's kind of in the seated area. It's kind of a smaller little unit, but it's well utilized for space. Again, that's Rochelle and her design. And then you can see her
There's a futon,
table, the lovely mirror, because she always puts energy into making sure there's a full-length mirror somewhere there. And this is a great little quote there. I love people who make me laugh. I honestly think it's the thing I like most to laugh. It cures a multitude of ills. It's probably the most important thing in a person. That's a great one. And then we've got the kitchen, a great actually space for a kitchen, well utilized. And then it's got a cute little fridge, again, all for a one bedroom, all anyone would need. Has this really interesting shower. You can see here, it's got, they literally tiled the shower with stones. It's like literally stones. So I think some love it, some might not so much. And then this is the bedroom here. So you can see there's the bed, and it's a really nice, comfy, warm space. And that's it. That is this epic journey for this Airbnb.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us on the Epic Hour, and we'll catch you next time.
Stay epic.
Bye.